Good afternoon and welcome to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. I'm State Senator Amanda Chase, your weekly radio show host, serving the 11th Senatorial District, which includes all of Amelia, all of Colonial Heights, and most of Chesterfield, with over 250,000 people. And this is a weekly call-in town hall and radio show, and the hope here is to provide Virginians with an opportunity to call in and ask questions of their state representatives. It's an opportunity to learn more about state government and gives us the opportunity to give you the inside scoop on issues at the state level. And from time to time, we have local and federal guests on our town hall to answer your issues about local and federal issues. As many of you know, I'm a mother of 4 teenage kids. Actually, I have to say 3 teenage kids because one of my kids just turned 21, graduated from college, and is now gainfully employed. Thank God for that. And there's something to be said for that nowadays, isn't there? And we've always had a small family business. And I ran for office for the first time in 2015 and won in a competitive 3-way race in which a 27-year incumbent was challenged in a primary. And of course, the rest is history. I believe in a open, transparent government which represents the people it serves. And I'm a Christian conservative Republican, and in that order, Vice President Pence said it in a speech, and I absolutely loved it, so I'm going to borrow that line from him. I'm also co-founder of the Transparency Caucus, which is a bicameral, bipartisan caucus which pushes for more transparency, accountability, and accessibility in both the House and the Senate. And my desire is to be accessible to you, and I want to give a special thanks to WNTW, The Answer, for making this possible to provide this free public service to you each week. They share my heart of connecting the people to their representatives. So I want you all to write this number down. You're welcome to call in. It's 804-454-1366. Give us a call. Right now, we're in a series called Meet Your Virginia Legislators, and this is an opportunity to hear from other state legislators from across the Commonwealth and to give them your input. And today we have a special guest, Senator Bill Carrico from Southwest Virginia, and I'm looking forward to having him on. In fact, I can see he's on the board already. And to date, we've had presidential candidates, former Virginia Governor Jim Gilmore, and presidential candidate Congressman Dave Bratt. We've had various leaders in the House and the Senate. A lot of my Senate colleagues and House colleagues have come on the show. So you'll want to make sure that you tune in each week from 4 to 5 because I want to give you the opportunity to meet some of these folks. And feel free to call in and ask your questions. And again, that number is 804-451-1366. So let's go ahead and get started. And let me tell you a little bit about Senator Carrico. We served together on the Transportation Committee, the Education and Health Committee, and also on local governments. And it's such a pleasure to work with Bill. He's easy to work with, and you'll see in a minute why I enjoy working with him. He's a lifelong resident of Southwest Virginia. He's also served in the House of Delegates. He served there for 10 years before winning election to the state Senate in 2011. He's a retired state trooper, and he's worked in the General Assembly on public safety issues for many, many years, and he's actually also developed a reputation as a reliable conservative voice. In the Senate, he fights for low taxes, improved education, and rural economic development. So we talk a lot about coal and agriculture and that type of thing, and I love that he is a strong man of faith, and he's just a pleasure to work with. If you have any questions about transportation, health, and education, those are great topics to bring up today as you're thinking about what to call in about. And I also want to point out Senator Carrico serves on the Joint Commission on Health Care. We've been talking a lot about health care on the show, and he actually sits on that committee. So I'm really looking forward to talking to him about what they discussed in that meeting and get his perspective. For the past couple of weeks, we've talked quite extensively about Anthem and Optima pulling out of the individual markets, leaving some areas of the Commonwealth without any insurance provider at all. Thankfully, just this week, they've announced that they're back in, so that's good. And the Commissioner of Insurance worked tirelessly with the Bureau of Insurance and to make that happen. And had they not, let me just tell you, and Senator Carrico can attest to this, Virginia would have been the only state in the entire United States of America with no provider for the individual plan. As we've talked about, I think last week and the week before, that would have been about 65,000 to 450,000 Virginians without any type of insurance beginning December 31st. The subscribers would have received a notice in the mail that they would not be able to re-enroll in the plan, and no other option was available. So I think Senator Carrico is with us. Are you there, Senator Carrico?
I'm here, Amanda. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so appreciative that you would come on the show today and give our listeners an opportunity to chat with you again. You've been on the show at least twice now.
Yes.
That's
enjoyed it last time. Hopefully this time will be informative.
I think so too. I was just sharing with folks your biography here, and one of the things that we've been talking about the show recently is the whole issue with Anthem and Optima pulling out of the markets, and now they're back in. We've had Congressman Brad on, so they're very familiar with what's been going on with healthcare. And I just pointed out to them in regards to the Healthcare Commission that you serve on, and you all had a meeting this week, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. The Joint Commission on Healthcare met this week to discuss various issues. Of course, you're aware of how Anthem pulled out of the marketplace in Virginia, and of course, I was going to leave some 70,000 or even larger individuals without insurance. A large majority of the state of Virginia would be without. And the worst thing was that no one was going to have the ability to get health care. And under the Affordable Care Act, there was no exemption. They wouldn't have health care, nor could they have gotten health care. They would still have to pay the fine. And, we just had written letters. We had requested Anthem to reconsider, and I'm just glad to see they came back in. Now, the question is, how much of an increase is it going to be? Because I think that's the next level we'll be looking at.
And from what I hear, it's anywhere between a 50 and 63% increase in premiums. So that's a lot.
That's correct. I think you're going to find out 40% is going to be the low end. It could be as much as 60. I just don't know how much it'll be at this point. And that's the urgency right now we have of Congress and the President sitting down and coming up with a clear solution to this whole debacle of the ACA.
So it sounds like Senators Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, and I do want to emphasize U.S. Senator because I'm a state senator. I don't want people to call up and yelling at us, but Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina and U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana came up with a proposal called the Graham-Cassidy proposal, and we call it the U.S. Senate GOP Healthcare Bill, which would actually repeal much of the Obama-era Affordable Care Act and limit future federal funding for Medicaid. Now, we're going to go to a break in a minute here, but when we come back, I'd like Senator Carrico and I are going to discuss the Graham-Cassidy proposal, and I want to get your insight from the committee that you attended this week. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Senator Carrico and myself. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Beat the heat before the heat beats you. Call Daniel's Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155 for your free quote. Summer heat is rolling in, And Daniel's Heating and Refrigeration is offering a free Wi-Fi thermostat with any system replacement. Extend the life of your HVAC system. Save energy with a low-cost maintenance agreement. Call Daniel's Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155. That's 804-379-1155.
This week, the Chesterfield County Colonial Heights Crime Solvers program is inviting you to have fun and support a vital crime-fighting tool at the same time. Crime Solvers was created for those who have information on criminal activity or wanted people but are reluctant to come forward directly to law enforcement. Not only do tipsters remain anonymous, they can also earn cash rewards if their tip helps crack a case. This is where we need your help. On Saturday, October 21st at 1 p.m., the Bowl America at 11532 Hull Street Road will host the 2017 Jim Burke Bowling Fundraiser to benefit the Crime Solvers program. To learn more, please visit crimesolvers.net. And as always, if you have information of any unsolved crime in or fugitive wanted by Chesterfield or Colonial Heights, submit a tip through the telephone hotline at 748-0660 or through the new P3 app. Either way, you will remain anonymous, and if your tip helps, you could receive a cash reward. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and take the time to solve the crime.
Attention! Sorry I'm talking a little loud because I want to reach people with a hearing problem. Do you want to hear better for just $299? Yes, not thousands, but for $299, you can hear all the sounds you've been missing for years. Hearing Help Express has been helping people hear better, selling top-quality hearing aids for over 30 years. Now's your best chance to hear better with hearing aids for only $299, plus a free 45-day home trial offer, and you don't even need to leave your home or get a hearing test. Call now to start your risk-free 45-day home trial offer. Call 888-451-2042. 888-451-2042 for free hearing help consultation. Learn how Hearing Help Express can improve the quality of your life. Visit us online now at hearinghelp.com or call 888-451-2042. 888-451-2042.
Before a trip, you program your destination into the GPS. You need the best directions to get where you want to be.
You will arrive at your retirement in 8
It's the same for retirement. You need a voice to guide you. In Richmond, that voice is Isaac Wright. Join him every Saturday at 3 and Sunday at noon on WNTW 820 The Answer. Isaac's experience can help your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street. Take the first step by tuning in Saturdays at 3 and Sundays at noon for Retire Right with Isaac Wright.
Arriving at your retirement.
Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with State Senator Amanda Chase and Senator Bill Carrico from Southwest Virginia. We're here on our weekly radio show and call-in show, and I want to give you that number here. It is 804-454-1366. You're welcome to call in. And Senator Carrico and I both serve on transportation, where he's the chair of that committee, education and health, local governments, we both serve on. Senator Carrico also serves on Finance and the Rules Commission. The Joint Commission on Health Care is also a very important commission to serve on right now. Senator Carrico is a part of that committee. So can you begin by maybe giving us a little summary of what was discussed in the Joint Commission on Health Care?
Amanda, we discussed 3 topics basically that stem from legislation last year to determine whether the commission wants to make recommendations of whether to move forward in the 2018 session. One of those issues was life-sustaining methods, medical help for individuals. As you know, right now, we do have a law that allows an individual to have a will to say whether they want to be kept on life support and so forth like that. But we do have a situation where if an individual is being fed and given nutrition, then that decision is left up to the doctors as to whether they are able to sustain life that you just couldn't starve someone to death. So, you know, there's a lot of input going into this. I think there's still some work to be done on it. We discussed what the commission's study has shown. There's been a lot of doctors and a lot of hospitals involved in it. And, you know, we certainly don't want to create some type of death panel. We want everyone's wishes to be carried out as they see fit, and you can have a living will to determine that. But if you don't, we don't want to put a family in a situation where they have to make the decision and let those doctors with the medical decisions that they have to work on those. So we're still working on that. I don't know if we'll come up with a clean-cut decision as to what we're going to do with it, but that was one of the bills. The second one is mental health delivery from jails for inmates that are there with mental health problems. Out of, I think, 30,000 people who are incarcerated in Virginia, about, actually 30,000 in the state, and then there's another 30,000 in regional jails. Out of about 60,000, about 6,000 have been identified with mental health issues. And, you know, some of the things that we ask questions about, and I think it's important for us to know when they are determining mental health, is, are they consolidating substance abuse in that? Is those individuals, do they have drug problems, do they have alcohol problems, and how many of them identify as a clear mental health problem that needs to be addressed? So we're trying to get good information back on that. And the last thing is the care and that's being received in assisted living and nursing homes. So we've got another meeting scheduled in November. Hopefully we'll have all the data back and information that we were asking questions about in this one, so that we can make a intelligent and stable choice on how we move forward, if we move forward on any legislation in 2018.
Right, because with the Graham Cassidy proposal that we were talking a little bit regarding the U.S. Senate GOP healthcare bill, I know that basically is talking about changing the way we've done things for over 40 years, where the states would get a block grant, and right. In that block grant, then we basically have to come up with how we're going to do that health care. And my understanding is that people with pre-existing conditions would have protections, but they would not face lifetime caps on coverage from insurers. And I know that there was a study done, I think it was by the consulting firm Avalere Health, found that the bill would lead to an overall $215 billion in cuts in federal funding for health insurance through 2026. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
The thing that I thought was interesting is that according to this report, it was saying that Virginia would be one of the winners. When it came to this, we would get an increase in the funding, but Governor Terry McAuliffe said Monday that we're going to lose $1 billion in federal funding over the next 7 years. So it's kind of scratching my head on that, because it looks like, according to this other report, that we would be getting more money, and Virginia would actually be well off. Like Texas, I think, was the biggest winner, followed by Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, then Virginia, then Wisconsin and Wyoming. And I just wondered why there might be a discrepancy. Any ideas on that?
Well, as you know, and probably many of the listeners, that Virginia is a 50-50 state when it comes to Medicaid, meaning that the federal government gives 50%, we match 50%. States that are only 30-70 would probably be the ones that would be the big losers.
Okay.
The loss of $1.5 billion is still beyond me. I don't know, when you're given the states the ability to come up with their own when you're giving the money to the states to come up with the way that they administer the health care, I don't know how you come out that big of a loser unless you're considering on covering people that shouldn't have been covered in the first place. So that's still to be seen. As far as the pre-existing conditions, I think that's important, but I really don't know. I've seen conflicting information, and I haven't seen the exact language of that, how that pre-existing language works. But I think that's an important piece that they have to clarify, because I think it would be catastrophic to penalize or to leave people out with a pre-existing condition, because those are the ones that, are such a strain on the health system.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones that need the coverage the most. So, the $1.5 billion, I still don't understand the governor's math on that. It's a little fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that as it stands right now, we're not in good shape as it stands right now as far as the way that this whole system is set up, because if we were to draw down the money today, or if we had done it in the past under the ACA, we're about a little bit over $2 billion in the hole to the federal government, because if they don't do their 90% match, which I don't think they're capable of doing, then we're on the hook for $2 billion.
Well, we certainly have a lot that still needs to be worked out. So just another reason they need to stay tuned to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, I think right now with this bill, we're in the early stages of it, and at least it's a work in progress. Hopefully, it will be something that is workable and that will give us some answers, because this burden on the healthcare system and the fact that insurance companies are pulling out like we saw with Anthem, and not having them in the marketplace, it's going to be catastrophic to the people that we serve.
Yeah, absolutely. And, certainly we can understand where the insurance companies are coming from. They don't have a certainty of these federal subsidies that they've had back whenever they were trying to establish. My understanding is that in September is whenever the insurance companies provide those rates to the Bureau of Insurance, which begin, I guess, the following year. So there was a little sense of urgency there for them to sign on as insurers or not. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the DMV shortfall that's topping $16 million and all this talk about raising those increased fees. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase, our weekly call-in radio and town hall. And with me is guest Senator Bill Carrico, Senator from Southwest Virginia. And we both serve on transportation, education, and health and local governments together. So if you'll have any questions about that, feel free to give us a call at 804-454-1366. You can ask us any question you want to, but those are the committees we serve on. And Senator Carrico also serves on finance and rules as well. So, all right. So before the break, we were talking about the $16 million shortfall that was advertised. And, we had a number of issues. I just feel sorry for the Virginia State Police. They have just really had a tough time. And, $1.1 million bill for ultimately rebuilding the Virginia State Police's stricken email network. So they've had a big bill on that, just trying to get their email straight. And by the way, if your kid is interested in what they should major in when they go to college, pick cybersecurity. I'm just going to put a plug out there for you parents out there, because we are having such issues with cybersecurity right now, and we just can't keep folks in there. We need more help in that area. But the costs keep coming. the costs just keep coming in to our budget committees. And now we've got a $16.4 million operating shortfall with DMV. And they actually estimated that between 2016 to 2022, that figure is probably going to be more like $66.5 million. So that's not good. Now, they have some proposals on the table, 3 solutions, which came to us, which I have to be honest with you and tell you I'm probably not going to vote for any of these because they involve fee increases. And I pledged whenever I was running that I would not vote for taxes or fee increases. So I will be a no vote on these. But these are the 3 proposed solutions. We can double the vehicle title fee from $20 to $20 to generate $26.1 million a year. We can increase the driver's license fee by $1.25 a year or $10 over the 8-year term of a license to generate $21.6 million in the next 3 fiscal years and $15 million in the following 3 years. Another idea that they had was to increase the DMV share of the vehicle license fee by $3 from its current $4 share of the $40.75 fee that goes primarily to VDOT, along with emergency medical service and state police. But I have an idea here. Actually, a constituent from Amelia came up with this idea, and I'm going to ask Senator Carrico what he thinks about it, especially with his law enforcement background. And here's that suggestion. What if we went from having 2 vehicle tags, like you have one on the front of your car and one on the back of your car, but we cut that in half so that you just have one on the back of your car to save money. So that would cut that expense by half in producing those plates. I'm wondering how much, revenue we could save by doing that. What are your thoughts on that from a public safety standpoint? Not to put you on the spot here, but I just did. Sorry.
Well, there's 2 things. I mean, public safety-wise, it's always good to have 2 license plates. But as you know, we're in a transit society now, so law enforcement deals with 1 license plate already because of the number of vehicles that travel through the state and those other states that only require 1. So I don't think enforcement-wise it would be a huge deal. The second part is license plates are produced at a really reasonable cost because the Department of Corrections, through program they have with the prison systems, is how they're produced. So I don't know how much money that would actually save us. I don't think it would be enough money that would really put a dent in what DMV is looking at as their shortfall. The real question is here, real ID. I don't think people realize once the federal government said that if your state is not compliant with real ID by 2020, your citizens are not getting on an airplane. They're not going into a federal courthouse. They're not getting into any federal buildings, any military installations. All these things that the federal government has said that unless your license has federal compliance on it, you're not getting into these things. It has put us in a situation where now we have to get our constituents, our drivers, and all those that use the federal government, which Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads are going to be affected more than I am in Southwest Virginia. We have to get them real ID compliant so that they can work, so that they can travel, and all the things that the federal government is forcing us to do. And we have limited options of how we get that money. And you named 3 solutions that we have. And
Senator Carrico, we're going to have to go to the break, but you hold that thought because we'll be right back. We're already going to have to go to the break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with Senator Carrico. August the 12th over Charlottesville. You can make your donation to the Virginia State Police Association through their Emergency Relief Fund at vspa.org or calling their office at 804-320-6272. Thank you.
The Old Dominion football team is set to make history again this week. The Monarchs head to Blacksburg to face Virginia Tech for the first time ever. The challenge is a major one, as the unbeaten Hokies are ranked 13th in the nation. Hi, this is Ted Alexander. Join Andy Mishaw, Doug Ripley, and me for all the action live from Lane Stadium. Pre-game coverage begins Saturday afternoon at 1 right here on the ODU Sports Radio Network.
WNTW 820 AM and 97.7 FM, The Answer. Proud home of Old Dominion University football.
If your financial plan is even slightly out of tune, you may be paying too much for taxes, exposing yourself to too much risk, or retiring without a sound income plan. Listen to WNTW AM 820 The Answer on Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 8:30 a.m. to Financially Tuned with Big John Pulowski of Norseman Advisory Group. You can contact Big John at 757-223-1559 or visit the website at norsemanagi.com.
5 days a week at the crack of dawn, John Fredericks gives you exclusive world-class nonstop coverage of our political madhouse. But what does he do on a Saturday? J-Fred. Saturday, noon till 3, it's the all-new Best of John Fredericks show. Best guests, best interviews, Best of John Fredericks. Saturdays at noon on WNTW AM 820, The Answer.
That ad you just heard, it could have been yours. That's right, you could have just heard your ad instead of some other guys. On AM 820 and 97.7 FM, you can reach more potential customers, many just like you, who can add dollars to your bottom line. Our team will work with you to make the perfect ad for your business. So give us a call at 804-717-2000. That's 804-717-2000. Your first step to becoming a household name.
Before the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People was the Dale Carnegie course. Now, after 104 years, over 8 million people experience Dale Carnegie courses. People like Warren Buffett and Ronald Reagan. The Dale Carnegie experience uses proven techniques to permanently unlock the potential of top talent, making individuals into inspiring leaders and groups into high-performing teams, while reducing the financial and emotional costs of employee turnover. For more information, visit DaleCarnegieRichmond.com. That's Dale Carnegie.
Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase and Senator Bill Carrico. And we actually have caller Chris from Chesterfield with a question about license plates. Chris, are you there?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, great. Hey, I'm originally from Northern Virginia. I moved to Central Virginia about 9 years ago. And one of the first things I noticed is there's no emissions testing down this area. And I was, kind of confused by that, and I figured, okay, it must have something to do with population density or something. But I always thought about this. Why don't we coordinate the inspection, the safety inspection process, with the driver, with the license plate? Is there any way to do that so that that's a one-step process?
That is a great idea. And actually, originally being from Alabama, my dad came up with that same kind of idea. And Senator Carrico, do you have a good... Senator Carrico served on transportation for a long time and might have a better answer to this than I would.
That's okay.
Here, but,
anyway, one other note. I have another kind of coincidental with you and I know a few of the same people, but my nephew served as a page for you last year.
Oh, wonderful.
And he wanted me to say hello to you.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's wonderful. And, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because if you have a 13-year-old or 14-year-old who is interested in our page program, you can contact our office. Go to my website, chaseforsenate.com, and we're actually interviewing pages for this coming session right now. And the deadline is coming up soon. I want to say it's in October. And it's all that information is on my website. And, I think that's a great idea. Going back to your idea of the emissions testing and the safety inspection with, getting your license plates and everything, that's a really great idea, Chris. And that was actually an idea that was brought to me, and I'm going to make a note of that and follow up on that. And maybe we'll talk about it again on a later date. So that sounds great. Hey, thanks for taking time to call in. I think that's great.
Hey, no problem at all. No problem.
All right, great. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. So, great. So if you have any questions, just a reminder, you can call in 804-454-1366. If I don't know the answer, which happens sometimes, I will talk about it on the show, or you can email. Some people don't like to call in because they for some reason they're intimidated by that, and I get that. I tend to be a back behind the scenes kind of person myself, and this is kind of out of my comfort zone, to be honest with you, but the things I will do for you. So anyway, when Senator Carrico was on the line a minute ago, he was talking about the Virginia ID cards. There's a 2005 law called the Real ID Act, and it forces states to have a more secure ID than Virginia currently has. And in fact, me personally, I'm supposed to get my driver's license renewed before my birthday in December. So, yeah, that's an important thing to do. Is Senator Carrico back on the line?
I'm here. I'm sorry, man.
I am sorry we lost you there for a minute there. But we were talking about the 2005 law called the Real ID Act and how it forces states to have a more secure ID than Virginia currently has. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we're faced with having to try to front end this cost that it's going to cost DMV to administer that. That's somewhere around $20.7 million. And it's in order to be compliant. If we don't come up with the money somehow to be able to give DMV the personnel and the ability to issue these compliant licenses, it's going to have to be a Treasury loan and find some way to raise the money to pay it back. So, we're kind of in a box thanks to the 2005 law that the federal government has kind of put back to each state. And I'll give you an example of how that's already affecting us. I have a contractor that's in my district, a road contractor that was bidding on a project in Tennessee that was on a military base, and they basically told him there's no reason to bid because your state doesn't have Real ID compliant. You can't be on this base.
Wow.
So, I realize that, we're left with very few options, but that's mainly because we're forced to do this by federal law.
And they didn't give us any money to actually implement that, which we don't like because it's called an unfunded mandate. They tell us to do something, but they don't give you the money to do what it takes to do what they're demanding that you do. That never happens, does it?
No, I mean that's one of the things that we're behind the eight ball on. Is nobody likes fee increases or anything like that, and you look at how many options you have, and I think the least impacted option would be the titling fee, because the titling fee has not been increased in 30 years. The states around us, even though West Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky's lower, North Carolina's title fee is $52. Maryland is $100. Virginia is $10. So we're I think DC is $25. So one-time fee when you buy a vehicle, you pay $20 to title it. Even though it's $10 increase, and I know individuals that sign pledges, they stick to their word, and I get that. But where do we go? I mean, how do we get it? And the other disadvantage, I guess, is without DMV having the personnel to do this, what may have took you 30 minutes at DMV now will take you an hour.
Mm.
So it's going to be very interesting how we approach that.
So let me ask you this. I know that I have to renew my driver's license. I have until December to do that this year. But for those, I always try to look for the cut to the chase, like this is how it's going to affect you kind of thing. Is there a deadline when people have to go to the DMV and get a new driver's license so that they can have a real ID driver's license?
Real ID will be effective October 2018 when you can start getting the Real ID driver's license.
Okay, so you can't even get that now. So I'm going to have to renew my driver's license this December and then turn around and get another one in October.
Yes.
A year later. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sure they're going to give me a cut. A reduced fee, right?
I think it'll be prorated. I don't think it'll be that expensive. But you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to have a real ID. You can operate a motor vehicle as long as you don't. That's why I don't think it affects my district as much as it does others. If you don't ever want to get on an airplane, if you don't want to ever go into a federal building, now, buildings such as post offices, Social Security offices, stuff like that, that doesn't require you to show an ID, it doesn't affect you. But if you want to get, all right, let's say you have a loved one that's in a federal prison. You can't go see them anymore. If you have someone graduating from the Naval Academy or from a military base or some reason be on a military base, you can't go on there anymore. You can't get on an airplane anymore. So, that's the dilemma you have.
Very good. Senator Carrico, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. And we'll look forward to having you on again soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155 for your free quote. Summer heat is rolling in, and Daniels Heating and Refrigeration is offering a free Wi-Fi thermostat with any system replacement. Extend the life of your HVAC system. Save energy with a low-cost maintenance agreement. Call Daniels Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155. That's 804-379-1155.
The Old Dominion football team is set to make history again this week. The Monarchs head to Blacksburg to face Virginia Tech for the first time ever. The challenge is a major one, as the unbeaten Hokies are ranked 13th in the nation. Hi, this is Ted Alexander. Join Andy Mishaw, Doug Ripley, and me for all the action live from Lane Stadium. Pre-game coverage begins Saturday afternoon at 1 right here on the ODU Sports Radio Network.
WNTW 820 AM and 97.7 FM, The Answer. Proud home of Old Dominion University football. Get your daily inspiration on our sister station, the Truth Network of Richmond, on AM 590 and 107.7 FM. The Truth Network is now on 107.7 FM, just up the dial. For 24 hours of encouragement, enjoy 107.7 FM. Realign your focus on the most important things. Just turn your dial to our sister station, the Truth Network of Richmond, on 590 AM and 107.7 FM.
Before a trip, you program your destination into the GPS. You need the best directions to get where you want to be.
You will arrive at your retirement in 8
It's the same for retirement. You need a voice to guide you. In Richmond, that voice is Isaac Wright. Join him every Saturday at 3 and Sunday at noon on WNTW 820 The Answer. Isaac's experience can help your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street. Take the first step by tuning in Saturdays at 3 and Sundays at noon for Retire Right with Isaac Wright.
Arriving at your retirement.
That ad you just heard, it could have been yours. That's right, you could have just heard your ad instead of some other guys. On AM 820 and 97.7 FM, you can reach more potential customers, many just like you, who can add dollars to your bottom line. Our team will work with you to make the perfect ad for your business. So give us a call at 804-717-2000. That's 804-717-2000. Your first step to becoming a household name.
Thank you again for joining us today on Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase on WNTW The Answer. I hope you will join us again next Thursday for our weekly town hall from 4 to 5 as I answer your questions, get your input, and address issues that are important to you. And speaking of an upcoming event, how about Election Day that's coming up on Tuesday, November the 7th? That's right. And the registration deadlines are always 22 days prior to the election. Have you registered to vote? Now, some of you are saying, wow, I haven't. Like my 18-year-old son, I hope you're listening to this. You still need to go register to vote. The deadline, you have until October the 16th. And I'm going to remind you of that every Tuesday until then. And then I'm going to remind you again to go and exercise your right to vote on Tuesday, November the 7th. Now, many of you are saying, well, what do you have to do to be eligible to vote in Virginia? You have to be a resident in Virginia. You need to be a U.S. citizen. You need to be 18 years old, or any person who's 17 years old but will be 18 at the age of the next general election. They're permitted to register in advance and vote in the upcoming election. Someone that's not requirements that you do not be registered and plan to vote in another state. So if you, let's say you lived in Florida and then you moved up here, you need to register here. You can't vote in both. So you need to take care of that. If you're not currently declared mentally incompetent by a court of law, or if you've had your right to vote restored if ever convicted of a felony. And, there are different ways to register to vote. You can actually register online now. And another way is you can download the form online. You can get the registration form from a public library, the Office of the General Registrar. You can go to a DMV. God bless them. They've got so much already on their plate, just like they need one more thing, right? And the State Board of Elections office has those as well. So most of you go to your public library. They need the business, right? If you're an existing voter and you need to update your record, let's just say you moved, you can appear in person at the Office of the General Registrar, which is over here off Laurie Road. Here, if you live in Chesterfield, go to wherever your registrar's office. Y'all can Google that, right? And you're going to complete the change of address form on the back of your voter registration card if you happen to have that. You can download the voter registration form, or if you're a military or overseas, you can download a federal postcard application. You'll send in a letter stating your full name, the last 4 digits of your social security number, date of birth, new and old addresses, and the signature. You can submit it by mail. You can submit it in person. There's all kinds of things, different ways you can submit it. But the deadline has to be in by October the 16th. So if you're like me, I don't like to rely on the mail. I like to do it myself to make sure that they have it. And if they have any questions, that I can take care of it right then. So October the 16th, make sure you write that date on your calendar, followed by the second most important date, which is November the 7th. So make sure you get out and vote. Just exercise your right to vote and be informed. And I know you're getting bombarded with all those commercials like I am, and quite honestly, I'll be glad when election season is over as well. But I'm voting for Governor Gillespie, and I will be campaigning with him across the state. I've been campaigning with his wife as well, Kathy Gillespie, and enjoyed getting to know them over the past year, and they're good people. So anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Until next week, stay tuned. Cut to the chase.
Breaking news. The 2017 housing market is heating up to be one of the most competitive on record. Most competitive on record. Most competitive on record. Most competitive on record.